Hello and welcome everyone to another edition of Scott Schilling Speaks. I'm your host, Scott Schilling. I got a good buddy on with us today. 28-time bestseller. Started out 3 Feet from Gold. Excellent book if you don't have it. Latest Wealth Made Easy. And the creator of Secret Knot, Dr. Greg Reid. Greg, thanks for being here today.
I like the creativity of the name of your show, Scott. That's very original. It ties it together good.
Well, somebody had to put it together. No, here's the funniest part. It's not really about me speaking.
I know. That's what's so interesting, because you're so much about other people and putting the spotlight on them, right?
Yeah, that's really what the show is about. It's funny that it came from somebody said, you're always sharing so much about so many other people. When are you going to speak? So it came with Scott Schilling Speaks. But the function of the show is really to lift up. I'm that third party endorser. I lift up my friends. Even if my friends are doing great, they can always go a little higher, right?
Yeah, 100%. And that's what you're known for. It's so interesting. You and I have been connected for so many years, and it's a privilege and an honor to finally be doing this face to face, eye to eye, zooming all around the world and meeting some new friends.
Yeah, so much fun. Well, where to go? You want to start with the books and being an author, a multi-time best-selling author, and what got you to go down that path?
Yeah, and for those of you who are new to me, don't feel bad. I'm not very popular at home either. So you're a cat. I've been published now in 120 some odd books, 45 different languages, even have a star on the Walk of Fame for writing books. And the funny thing is, I can't read very well, and I can't spell, and I can't write. I'm dyslexic. So if you play me words with friends, you'll win every single time. But Scott and I understood the power we learned early is that you work your strengths and you hire your weaknesses. And you have to have the courage and the fortitude to know the difference between the two. So as you'll see, I'm pretty good at the gift of gab. So I hire amazing ghostwriters and editors who will sit me down and say, give us a message and the topic. And then they craft it in a way people would want to read it in book form.
I was honored to be a little bit of help of launching 3 Feet from Gold way back when. I'll never forget that launch event in Costa Mesa at the Grove. My God, there were so many great people there and people that you put in the book. And how many people do you think end up 3 feet from gold and give up?
Well, most people have a dream, and then there's a challenge, and then comes victory. Unfortunately, most people quit in the challenging times. And the only difference between the people that succeed and that we tell the stories about is they went that extra mile or the extra 3 feet, so to speak. Even in football, championships are won on that 1 yard line. It's that 3 feet, it keeps coming back. And the whole idea is to never let another person or yourself talk you out of what you know to be true. Not what you hope, not what you wish, not what you know in your heart of hearts. And I realized that's the thing that separates most people. When I was doing a book called Stickability after 3 Feet from Gold, the first person I interviewed was a gentleman who invented the cellular phone, Marty Cooper. And he said that stickability has to be parallel with flexibility. He says, if you're not willing to adapt and adjust, you get stuck and give up. And he told a story about a spider monkey, which I know you've told a million times. In the rainforest, you can't harpoon it, spear it, catch it, it's too wiry. But one hunter figured it out. He took a heavy log, drilled a hole, put a peanut inside, left at the base of the jungle. The monkey would smell the nut, come down, reach his hand in, grab a hold of the nut, and his fist becomes so big, he can't pull it back out, become anchored to the log. All he's got to do is let go, but he holds on, thinking it's saving him. The hunter comes by an hour later, captures the elusive spider monkey. And the moral is, are you holding on to your own nut in life? But it could be in the form of that job or the car or a deal or fear or guilt or relationship. And what we're holding on with dear life, thinking it's saving us, just like the monkey thought the nut was, could also be the thing that's leading to our own demise. Sometimes we have to have the courage to simply let go, adapt, and adjust so we can live to fight another day.
What a fabulous story, and absolutely true. How many people, especially with this pandemic, and going through, and who knows, some people say it's over, some people say it's just starting, some people say it's restarting. I don't know that anybody knows exactly where it is these days, but how many people had the opportunity to let go of the peanut with the pandemic, but then didn't correlate it properly, with the potential for new opportunities? Wouldn't
Yeah.
that be a great opportunity to kind of reset?
Yeah, well, I did, and most of my friends did. And it was interesting because a quarterback in football never throws the football where a wide receiver standing. They throw it downfield and let him run to it because they know that eventually they'll come to connect. And for myself, all I kept doing through the pandemic is throwing football fields down, figuring all I need is one Hail Mary and I'm gonna have a great success story. And thank goodness I did, because some of those are coming to fruition today, and we're going to have more success in the future than I could ever imagine. And it's, again, most people just were in a state of fear, and it wasn't the fear of, what we would think. It was just the fear of the unknown, because no one knew. And just like we're saying, well, it could be this, no one knows. And Napoleon Hill, when he did Think and Grow Rich, the biggest chapter was called The Six Ghosts of Fear. And he talked about the fear of old age and the fear of loss of love and the fear of poverty. And I disagree to those. And since I get to rewrite the Napoleon Hill Foundation's Think and Grow Rich series, I said the three biggest fears are the fear of the unknown, the fear of pain, that's all the drug commercials, but the biggest one is the fear of judgment, the fear of criticism, what
Yeah.
other people are thinking. And the funny thing is, no one's thinking about us, right, Scott? They're dealing with their own life situation. And there's a bumper sticker that says, what would you do if you couldn't fail? The big question is, what would you do the moment you stop worrying what people thought?
I totally agree. I mean, I choose not to use the most overused word of 2020.
Pivot.
Yeah. So
Right.
I didn't even
I
have to-
saw that coming.
Yeah, exactly. I choose reinvent, because isn't that really what it is? An opportunity to reinvent. I know I was out on a training task, and we finished up that event, got back, flew home, and it was like poof, everything locked down, and all the contracts were canceled, all the stuff was done. It's like, what just happened? Right. So if you didn't reinvent, it's one of the things I love doing my show 5 days a week. Number one, I get to talk to great people like you, great friends, and catch up and do things. But the other thing it does is allows you to reinvent and open up new opportunities that you weren't looking for in the past. They weren't available to you because you just didn't have the conversations.
Yeah,
And
I
then
like- I
you're
like
the
that.
king of reinvention.
Yeah, but you just said a great word, which is great. You're looking for it. It's like an old Rumi quote: whatever you seek is also seeking you. When we were interviewing Truett Cathy for 3 Feet from Gold, he said, look for and capitalize on unexpected opportunities. He said he didn't plan for Chick-fil-A, it just happened, but he looked for opportunity. And I said, like what? He says, well, if I'm on the sofa and I want to get to the end of the street, I have to have stickability that that's my goal and I'm going to get there no matter what. But I'm not so caught up in how it's going to happen. The planner is going to plan every step where they're going to pause, take a break. A sprinkler comes on, it goes against their plan, it freaks them out, they run back home. He goes, not me. He goes, I'm looking for opportunity. Did a kid leave a skateboard or a bicycle out that I could borrow to make my journey short? If I get lucky, I'll wave down a neighbor driving by. I'll hitch a ride to the end of the street. He goes, either way, I'll get to my goal, my destination. I'm just not so caught up in exactly how that has to transpire.
Totally agree. I mean, what a great thing. We launched Be Connected just at the beginning of the pandemic, and found so many great ways to help people be able to connect with each other and do the things. And now we've got the broadcast network, so we have the opportunity to do shows. It's fascinating to me. I'm doing 5 days a week. Some people are going, a show? Why would I do that? I've never thought of doing that. Because you can meet people, you can touch lives. Sorry,
I get it. And we can use it again as another vehicle to open up the doors of opportunity, new connections, new alliances, because at the end of the day, that's what's important. It's not the monetary success as much as the human capitals, which we're learning. Look, even through the situations that we were, I'm not focusing on the pandemic, to be honest with you. I'm focusing on what's coming next. Again, the quarterback downfield. And so I'm saying, what can we do in a positive way of the future? And I got to sit down with a gentleman named Walter O'Brien, the smartest man on earth. A TV show called Scorpion was on his life for 4 years on ABC. And he says, look, the future, what do you see coming? I go, well, I guess self-driving cars is going to be the next thing in the next 5 years. I'm sure that's going to be a big thing. And he says, well, what can you do to see the future of that? And, you go, well, they're going to get rid of gas stations. They'll get rid of car washes eventually and car dealers. So what would be next? And I thought to myself, well, you know what? You're not allowed to take your garage right now in California and retrofit it to make it a living room or something like that, right? It's the most empty space. I go, but if I don't have a car in the future and someone's just picking me up in this remote thing, maybe they'll change it. So I bought every domain name, like garageretrofit.com, how to convert your garage into an office.com, how to plumb your, right? Anything you can think of. So I own it, and I'm going to now start seasoning those domain names. So in 5 years from now, when the self-driving cars come up and people start Googling that, I will be the only thing that pops up, and then I can sell those leads to contractors or whatever. But that's how our brains got to start thinking. What's coming next? Because if you don't plan for the future, you hope it never gets there.
Yeah, again, totally agree. That's the fun of doing this. I told the story the other day. Last Tuesday, my guest, I asked the question, so what's your greatest challenge in business? And he shared it with us. And Thursday, I asked, so what's your greatest opportunity in your business? Well, we solved this challenge. And it was the same thing, right? So Tuesday, I opened up what the challenge was. Thursday, I opened up the solution. I put the two guys together, and it looks like it's going to be an absolutely wonderful deal that would have never happened if you don't ask the questions.
I love it. And then the next step of that one is being part of that solution. So at Secret Knock, this is one of the things that we insist on. So I remember I was working on Wealth Made Easy, and I was interviewing all these billionaire guys. And I said, what's the difference between you and the regular people? And he says, we just have a different mindset and mentality, a wealth mindset. And I said, what do you mean? He says, well, you'll see someone who wants to sell an airplane. You got someone who wants to buy a plane. You're such a nice guy. You put them together. I go, yeah. And he goes, you're an idiot. And I said, what? And he goes, here's what we do. We say, hey, I don't know anyone that wants to buy a plane, but if I find you a buyer, do I get 20% commission? Heck yeah, I want to sell this plane. Hey, I don't know anyone that wants to sell a plane, but if I find you one, do I get a free airline tickets to Hawaii once a year? Heck yeah, I've always wanted a plane. You two should meet. Exact same outcome, exact same situation, yet you're actually rewarded for the connections in which you put that mind power to put together. And someone came to our event and he said, hey, I want to start a pharmaceutical company. And I said, well, I happen to know the head guy at Pfizer who created all these drugs and stuff. If I put you together, will you give me some shares of your futuristic company? Well, they did. It went public and I got millions of shares. And the whole idea is by doing some of these relationships, the human capital could lead to more success and happiness and prosperity than all your work combined.
Well, you said a very key term there, human capital, really the opportunity to be of service by knowing about the other person and truly knowing them. I mean,
Yeah. And listening. You said it best, actually. I'm on your side. Here's what you said. You said, I asked a question, I heard it. The next question, I heard it, then I put it together. Most people don't have their minds and their ears open to even be attuned to that. And if we believe in the quote, whatever you seek is seeking you, and they're seeking one another, and you're the conduit, look, you're helping that both those parties, and you should be part of that process along the quest.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I was blessed to be at the first Secret Knock. There were all of 52 of us, knee to knee. It was absolutely amazing. Where did Secret Knock come from, and where has it gone?
Well, it started, originally in my living room with 12 people. And the first real one was the one you were at I think the Bristol Hotel downtown or something like that. And it was really interesting as people kept saying, I want to meet your friends. When I did 3 Feet from Gold, Think and Grow Rich series in Napoleon Hill Foundation, I invited hundreds of people to go with me to meet all these people, and no one showed up. Everyone had a bad case of the one size. That means I'll take action once I get the big break, once I get the opportunity. No one showed. And then once it became a giant global phenomenon, everyone said, hey, how do I meet your friends? And so I started an event with my living room, and I said, come meet all these people. And they said, do I need a ticket? I said, no, just bump and a bump, do the knock. It was a joke. And people left and started telling people, and we said, heck, we should make this a real thing. And we started the first one 15 years ago, as you know, and you're a part of it. Now we've grown to we're Forbes magazine, Inc. magazine, Entrepreneur, Yahoo, you name it. We're one of the top 10 events in the world for networking and collaboration. And our concept is, instead of coaches and teachers and mentors, we just bring in the actual person who's done what everyone's talking about. So if you want to start a new clothing line, there's Taco Bar. There's Brian Smith, founder of UGG Boots, $1 billion brand. Got an idea for a board game? There's Rob Angel. He started Pictionary. I'm sure you heard of it. Imagine what it would be like to actually hang out with the people who've accomplished what everyone else is just chatting about.
Yeah, I know. I met Brian many years ago now, and have run into him at multiple events and multiple events of yours. Absolutely amazing to hear a story like creating Ugg boots, and then put that with the guy who is such a nice guy and willing to share, and not only share his story, but listen to yours and give you a little, critique slash, some ideas. I mean, amazing how that happens, right?
Yeah, he's just as warm and fuzzy as his boots. That's all there is to it. It's interesting because at Secret Knock coming up, he's coming back. He's going to honor us with a little guest cameo appearance. So I went and I bought all the remaining books of his book so he can do a book signing and just give them to all the attendees. I just thought it'd be kind of a cool little thing to do. But like I said, it's amazing. We're fired up. So next one's going to be in September, the 21st or the 23rd. We've been all locked down for a couple of years. People are like caged animals. They're ready to get out. So we're going to be bringing the best show we've ever performed in our history.
That's awesome. Are there still tickets available, and or how can people get a hold of them?
Yeah, but you know how it is. You can't just go. You have to go. You go to secretknock.co. We left the M off so no one could find us, but people still did. So go secretknock.co. You fill out an application, and what we do is we ask, what is it you're looking for? How can we be of contribution? And what contribution do you bring our community? And if there's a good fit, one of our people will call you and then invite you in. And even then, you have to pay a pretty substantial tuition, and we won't tell you where it is or who's going to be there. We're just going to tell you the city, state, the area, so you can book your flights. And then we drip that information as we get closer. And the reason we do that is so we can bring in special people. Last time we had President Vicente Fox. He didn't want Secret Service, so we kept it secret. We did private Skype with Edward Snowden while he's hiding in Russia. We bring in Tonino Lamborghini from Italy. We just bring in the people that are making some changes so you can have that influence one-on-one.
Totally amazing events for sure. Definitely. If you are listening to this and you've ever had an inkling to be at an over the top amazing event, Secret Knock is one of those for sure. So think back to, I was just thinking, all of a sudden, I coach intuitively. So what just popped up is 2005. We're in Costa Mesa. We share the stage for the first time at an event. And did you ever dream back in 2005 you'd be where you are here today?
I must say yes, only because that's why I got into the space, and when we get into the space, our whole concept is we say, if we can impact one person's life, we've done it. Well, that's a great story until you've done it day one. And then you go, all right, well, if I can impact 1 million people, and then you've done that, and you go, all right, if I can only, right. And so then it becomes an addiction in a positive way of how can you make the most positive impact in your existence while you're around. And I realized, I could do another 100 books and impact a couple million lives again, or like I did a major motion picture that, we were up for an Oscar and we impacted the lives of tens of millions of people. So right now I'm working on 2 more TV shows and another couple movies, because that's, I believe, the next medium that's going to impact the future of society.
Yeah, we got to keep on putting out good messages and having good conversations for sure. I think it's really amazing, and I congratulate you on all your success. I remember, I think it might have been even your first book back then, and just how you were reaching out and having a desire to serve. It was just very cool to watch. And
I'll show it to you. So check this out. I did my first book, see if I got a copy of it. It was called The Millionaire Mentor.
right.
And when you write a book, you say, it's a query letter: who you are, what's your message, why are you an expert, who's going to read your book. I was turned down by 268 publishers in a row. And the 269th one said, we'll do your book, just change the title, beginning, middle, and it sucked. And so again, I got a ghostwriter who recrafted it and went on to be a success. And again, now stars, PhDs, all this different stuff in literature, yet I'm dyslexic, can't spell, can't read, write, and people don't believe me. Boom, here's all my rejection letters. I kept them all. These are all the people telling me every reason why I would never become an author. And again, I would not allow another person or myself to talk me out of what I knew to be true.
Where do you get that drive from?
The knowing, again, I don't hope, I don't wish, I don't believe. When I wake up and say, I know I'm onto something, I'm not so determined on how it's going to happen. Like when I was doing Secret Knock and Frank Shankwitz, founder of Make-A-Wish, was on stage. And I said, what was your wish? I'm just out of curiosity. And he says, no one asked me. So, well, I'll grant your wish. What do you want? And he says, well, I want my story to be told so my grandkids will know I did something. So he signed over his life rights, and I said, I'll make it into a movie. I just don't know how to make a movie. And he trusted me. And it took 6 years of more ups and downs and trials and tribulations. When it came out in 2019, we made the final list for the Oscars for that year. We didn't get the nomination, but we made the ballot, which is pretty darn cool. And we were on Netflix for a year and a half, and now we're trending worldwide on every streaming device. And it's really interesting while winning awards, while impacting lives. And it would have been easy to quit. And again, people watching this goes, oh, that's easy for you. Well, also, you've never heard of me before. And guess what? No one in Hollywood's ever heard of me either. And so what happened is you got to start. So what I did is I got very creative, and I ran an ad looking for a script writer on a secretive website that no one knows about it. It's called Craigslist. Don't tell anyone. And I took a $25 ad, and the guy who answered it, Theo Davies, came on, wrote the screenplay, directed the movie, produced it with me, and we won awards all around the world, being shown at Cannes Film Festival and up for an Oscar. You have no excuse. It's all BS. Everyone can do something, but you have to take action, because it's the action in the law of attraction that makes our dreams a reality. Think it, feel it, get off your backside, take action, and do.
Well, and even to, having the honor to know Frank for many years and hear the story personally, and then watch the movie being made. He and I had done multiple events through that time frame, and it was so cool to see you celebrate him in what he had done. Because then what he had done, the ripple effect of that decision that day that took to the next decision, and then all the way to the movie. What an amazing thing.
Yeah. And you got to see the whole thing. That's what's so cool, is that you've been like the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain, seeing every single step, the trials, the tribulation, the ups, the downs. And again, people see the celebration and they see the awards and stuff, but they don't really see all the stuff that went behind it. And the difference between you and I is I don't mind that muck. You know, I mean, that's just part of the process. I don't focus on that. It's the old, going into the barn with the pile of poop, right? We know there's a pony, and all I focus on is the upside. And by doing that and knowing I'm doing something well, and it's to serve mankind, I will not ever let another person get in my way.
So have you always been that way, or were there some mentors along the way that helped dial you into that?
I've had great mentors that have kept me on track, but I've always been that way. So, I'm the weird thinking guy. I mean, when I was in my 20s, I ran a multi-gazillion-dollar corporation with, you wouldn't believe how many employees and people. I was the youngest guy. I always was that go-getting type of person. And even when I was 14 and I couldn't work, I wanted stuff. I wanted skateboards and bicycles. So I would take my dad's lawnmower and I'd go door to door, and I'd get the neighbors to pay me $10 to mow their lawn. And then I'd hire all the kids in the neighborhood for $5 to mow the lawn for me, right? I was always an entrepreneur. And so that's been the mindset. And I'm training my son, who's 9, to have the same mindset as well. But I'll cover you one quick little thing, and I got to wrap up pretty quick, is recently we had a party at the house, and a lot of people were coming over. And I said, Colt, go up and make your bed, clean your room, get everything dialed in, because we got guests coming over. And about 30 minutes later, one of his friends comes down. He has money in his hand and gives it to his dad and says, here, Dad, can you put that in my bank? He said, where'd you get that from? He says, oh, from Colt. I said, why did Colt give you money? He says, oh, he hired me to make his bed, clean his room, do his thing. And I pulled him aside, I go, Colt, why did you do that? And he says, Dad, work your strengths, hire your weaknesses. I had other stuff to do.
It's amazing. They do listen, don't they?
Oh boy, do they ever. And it's interesting. And we celebrate and we learn. I'll give you my favorite dad tip so far, because I'm such a new guy at it, but I love, it's like a petri dish. And by the way, when he was a kid at 7, he's 9 now. When he was a kid, he had the #1 album in all of Amazon. He had the #1 spoken album word. He has his own Spotify channel right now. And it's all with motivational tracks. The message is that I understood as a child, I do not give my kid allowance to mow the lawn or to pull the weeds or to do dishes, stuff he doesn't like. And the reason is I'm not going to train him from the earliest of age. The only way to make money is to do something they hate. And so what I do is I find out what he excels at, which is making these cool TikTok videos and things like that. And he makes mine. If you ever see my Instagram, there's a lot of this is the influence of it. And so I reward him for the actions that he excels in, but then he does these other things because it's a contribution to live the lifestyle that he gets to live. And when we change that paradigm, everything changed. So now when he comes up and says, hey, I would like to earn some money, it's what he excels at, not what he dislikes doing.
I think that, absolutely great program there. And that's a great piece of wisdom. I don't know that I have ever actually heard that shared before. And that is tremendously valuable for any parent to, encourage, especially again, we're in unprecedented times right now. And there are a lot of people wondering how to inspire their kids to, take a better path, right?
Absolutely. And, we're constantly learning. But what's nice with Cole is that we talk everything out. Even, years ago, again, when he was a kid, like he was 6 years old and his grandparents gave him money. So what do you want to do with this? And crypto was just popping up. So let's buy some of those Bitcoiny things. And we did. And now the kid's a baller. I mean, he's going to be set for life because he made some good decisions at an early age that he took advantage of what he saw coming next. Right. And I keep going down to the realities are we as smart as a 6-year-old? Right? So what can we do to start seeing things that are possible? Because we all saw it. How many people did not get into cryptocurrency, but we saw it in slow motion every single day, nonstop, yet not everyone took action on it. And then they're not going to now be able to have their opportunity to even get in because one coin's $50,000 and the average person doesn't have that kind of money to throw around as a speculative investment, right? But as a 6-year-old kid, when you got a couple grand and you could buy one, it's a completely different story.
Yeah, very, very cool. So hard to believe we're just about through our time. How about a piece of wisdom to share with everybody before we take off?
Well, I'll share one is I wish I would have learned this when I was younger, but from Wealth Made Easy, because you mentioned that book, is something called CPC. It's an acronym that stands for C, clues, P, patterns, C, choice. It's about accountability and responsibility for every single thing that happens. It's your fault. Stop blaming other people. And it works like this. I'm a single guy. I'm 58 years old, and I go out to have my first date with an amazing woman. She happens to be 20 minutes late. Now, anything could happen, car problems, babysitter, whatever, but there's a little red flag. That's a clue. But if I dig her and I keep going out on a date and it's the 8th, 9th, 10th, 12th date, and every single time she's 20 minutes late, that forms a P, which is called a pattern. Now it's my C, choice, whether I deal with it, I yell at her, I break up, but it's not her fault. She's just late. Stop trying to change people to fit in your own little paradigm. But we'll see someone with a bad reputation in business. They cheat your best friend. We do business thinking it'll be different. When things go wrong, we're mad at the person. We saw the clue. We made the choice. It'd be like seeing a rattlesnake rattle, bite your kid's sister. You go to pet it, get bit, and you're mad at the snake. Looking back in life, rarely will we be angry at relationships that failed or negotiations that fell through. We're just mad that we stayed in too long because we saw the clues. We saw the patterns, but we made our choices late. And the most successful people on the planet, all they're doing is looking for the clues and patterns, and they make their choices on the spot.
Great piece of wisdom. Really appreciate it. Greg, thank you so much for joining us here today. You're a rock star, man. Really, really appreciate our friendship, and goes back a long ways. You've done some amazing things. Congratulations.
Absolutely. We go together like shabba-da-ba-ba-ding-ba-ba.
That's right. Bye. That's right. Thank you all for joining us here on Scott Schilling Speaks. We'll see you again tomorrow, exact same time. God bless.
Late.